So, hello everybody, and welcome to another patch rundown. Patch 6.3 was released on Sunday, and there are a lot of changes. It's under the theme Very Important Pokemon, so we already can see a few Pokemons here on the slide that will be featured. But that's not all of them. There are a lot of them. And we start with the new Pokemons, actually, this time. So let's get into it. So first of all, a new Pokemon is a new regional form for Petilil. So Petilil normally evolves into Lilligant in every region, except of fighting regions. And human regions, maybe? I don't know that. But I think fighting regions, it evolves into Hisuian Lilligant, which has Victory Dance instead of Aromatherapy, and has a higher attack stats, but is less tankier, and has a bit more speed, so it's more offensive. And Victory Dance does that when casting the ability, Lilligant raises its attack and defense by 3, and its speed by 10. So it gets stronger, like it's a better bulk up, basically. So it gets stronger while the fight goes on. So it's a very nice scaling Pokemon into physical teams. So this Pokemon could be decent into other fighting teams, or into physical teams like Dark, for example, or like Fossil, or so on. So Lilligant is a decent physical attacker. So the next one is a brand new Pokemon. It's Esper. Esper is wild, psychic, and field. And it will evolve into either Meowstic male and Meowstic female, based on the what it gets, if it's field or psychic. Like it's the dominant, if your dominant synergy is field or psychic. So if your dominant synergy is field, it evolves into Meowstic male, and its second trait will be field in this case. And if your dominant synergy is psychic, it will be Meowstic female. And what can Esper do even? Like it has a lot of speed, so it's a meaty speedy guy. It has the ability Reflect. For 2 seconds, whenever the user received physical damage, block the damage and reflect 50% physical damage to the attacker. So it's similar to Wobbuffet. Or it's the same ability as Wobbuffet. I don't know, but it's similar to Wobbuffet's ability, I think. That's only good against physical damage, so it's a physical counter. So it's a good matchup into physical teams like Wild, Dark, Fighting, Fossil, or so on and so forth. And also Field, maybe. So, and Meowstic has a new ability. It's stored power, deal 20 special damage to a target. The more the user's stats are raised, the greater the damage. So the more stats Meowstic got, like Meowstic male has, through like wild buff, field buffs, or psychic buffs, or like items, it deals more damage. So I think it gets 20 damage per like stat that is boosted, so it gets 20 extra damage for attack, 20 for speed, 20 for defense, 20 for special defense, and 20 for ability power. So overall, you can get up to 100 bonus. Meowstic has the same ability as Esper, and it's very nice. It's still pretty nice. It has the same stats as the male part. It's very perfect fit for Standler, for example. So this could be a very good, very nice thing. And also, I think it makes Wild Psychic a viable strategy. Also, Psychic Field is a more viable strategy now. So there's a lot of things you can cook with it. Also, it makes Wild able to splash in some field and like Wild. So Psychic even has more opportunities to play more AD heavy stuff into their teams, or have like a physical counter. Well, that's very, very nice. Next thing is Gossifleur. Gossifleur is a Flora Sound Pokemon. And it has the ability Cotton Guard. Cotton Guard does, like, it creates a protective barrier around the user, granting 15 shields and 3 defense, and throwing cotton balls in the 3 cells in front. The cotton remains on the field, causing sleep for 1 second to any Pokemon that walks on it. So it's a great defensive Pokemon for Sound and Flora. I can imagine this being pretty decent. It has decent stats for an uncommon unit. Its ability is pretty nice. It also is, again, Pokemon that gains defense, so it's, again, count its unit against physical teams. And it also gives you some CC, like 1 second sleeps. It's pretty nice, especially if you have like something like cottons on the ground, so Pokemon walk into. So it's not direct CC, but it lays on the ground a bit. So that's very, very nice. The next uncommon Pokemons are new kittens, or rather dogs, or like a dog. It's Glameow and Skitty. Glameow is normal dark and has the Swagger ability. Swagger, like in the game, it increases, like it arranges the opponent, so it increases the attack value, but also gives confusion. And Glameow also has like a very high speed stat, so this guy is quick. And also, it's pretty decent statted, so it can hit hard in certain like teams. Then we have Skitty. Skitty is also normal. It's fairy and it's field, so there's another fairy field unit now to pair with your Snubble. So that's nice. I think I like that very much, that we have a fairy field access naturally now, if both are picked, the ad picks, of course. Skitty is a very slow Pokemon, but it has a pretty decent, like, potentially very good ability. Its Disarming Voice, it infatuates every enemy in 1 or 2 tiles around it for 1 second. So it's very, very nice. It's a 1 second AoE CC around Skitty. And that can be very scary. I think the fairy gourmet Pokemon, one fairy gourmet Pokemon has a similar ability. But yeah. But also it's paired not only with Bramble but also Fido. But yeah. So you have more access to fairy fields. Or you can slot in field into fairy, which is nice. Also, normal fairy is even easier to access here. The next Pokemon, Minccino. Minccino is a normal field and sound Pokemon. It's, again, a very quick Pokemon. It has a lot of speed. And its ability is Encore. Do we want more? Hooking Roar. Casts the last ability used by an ally. So it casts the last ability that was used by a Pokemon in your team. So you want other Pokemons to be quicker in their ability casts than Minccino, because otherwise your first ability cast with Minccino will do nothing. But this is normally no problem, because you will have a Pokemon, especially in sounds, you will have a Pokemon with some mana items that will cast before a Machino. So yeah, also another normal field Pokemon means can easily play normal field nowadays, which is kind of nice. I mean, also basically every second Pokemon is normal field Pokemon in the base games, always could fit into this category. But I think Minccino can be a very scary Pokemon, especially in sound comms. So you should be very, very careful about it. Now we get to the rare Pokemon. The new addition is Surskit. It's a bug aquatic Pokemon with the Aqua Jet ability. Which is like... Surskit isn't anything special, even though Aqua Jet is a very nice ability. But the good thing about Surskit is it evolves into Masquerain. And Masquerain can be a menace. It has the ability Silverwind. And Silverwind is basically Aqua Jet plus Quiver Dance. I think it was Quiver Dance, but it's just Aqua Jet plus a stat boost to everything. Like you get 1 attack, 1 defense, 1 special defense, 10 ability power, and 10 speed. So Masquerain is a menace. It's a menace. It's very, very scary. And I think especially in comps like Aquatic, where you like survive for a long time, or Flying, where it can survive for a long time and cast a lot of abilities, this Pokemon can be very, very scary. Especially because it's like 2-range Pokemon, so it can dash through everything and then goes into safety with the flying. It's also pretty tanky. So Masquerain can be a real menace. And I'm curious to see how good Masquerain will be itemized in a proper way. And if people can cook with it. But maybe I'm overestimating it a bit. So now the epic Pokemons, Girafarig. And Girafarig is another normal field Pokemon with Psychic. So, as you can see, normal and Psychic and Fields are having the day of their lives, because they, like the synergies, are having the best day of their life. They get everything. It's so many ad picks and utility units for specific scenarios and so on. So you can really cope with these synergies a lot. So Girafarig is a very slow Pokemon, decently statted, and it has the ability Twin Beam. It fires out 2 beams that hit the furthest enemy, dealing 30 special damage to all enemies in a line. So it deals twice 30 damage to all Pokemon in the line. This means it triggers every on ability or on damage triggered twice. So like a Pokenomicon, a punching glove, for example, a protective pad, crits. So will be calculated for each. So if the first crits, the second will not crit necessarily, or vice versa, and so on and so forth. So each beam will trigger on damage hit. Trigger. So very, very nice. I like it very much. Now we go to the next Psychic Field Pokemon, Stantler. It's wild Psychic Field, and now gets its evolution, Verdier. It keeps Psyshield Badge as the ability, and when Stantler evolves, it gets a bit AD, a bit tankiness, a lot of HP, but loses speed. That is something you have to keep in mind. It's still always better to evolve Verdier, but It will lose some speed. It will be slower. But also, the way Stantler evolves is that you change your region. So you can, if you want to, not evolve Stantler. But I would recommend doing it because it's more stats. And more stats means better Pokemon. And especially if you play it in Wild or Psychic. I mean, even if you play it in Field, the 10 speed loss doesn't matter because it gets so much speed anyway through the Field synergy. So it's a very, very nice change. It does make Stantler also a better unit in the late game than it was before. So that's very, very nice. Also, yeah, something that's mentioned in chat is there's a targeting change that I will talk about later. And that targeting change is also a huge buff because instead of switching targets from time to time, like switching the aggro from a Pokemon, of a Pokemon, Wordier will keep aggro on the Pokemon, and also the Pokemons will keep aggro on Wordier when it dashes and keeps its protect. So it will disrupt opponent Pokemons easier and better. So that's also a nice change. The same goes for Surskit with Aqua Jet and Masquerain with its Silver Wind and so on. So every dasher gets with this aggro target change the buff. But I will talk about it later. And there's Indindi, male and female. Those are the ones I will talk first about. So Indindi, first of all, male. After you, it has the after you ability, not ability, after you, no, ability, yeah. It gives 15 PP and 10 speed, buff to the strongest closest ally. This nice is just a carry enhancer, or it buffs itself. Oh no, it doesn't buff itself, does it? It says closest ally. Oh, it does cost buffs itself, yeah. It has decent speed, has good attack, isn't very tanky, but it's a 2-range unit, so it's fine. Then we have the other in D&D. It has the ability Follow Me. It jumps to a free cell far away and gains 40 shield. Enemies that were targeting the user gets infatuated for 3 seconds. So in D&D, it's like a very good CC tool. So you want Indeedee to be a frontliner. Even though it has 2 range, I think Indeedee is better as a frontline unit. So you put it as a solo frontliner, maybe. Make it pretty tanky. So and then it will jump far away. Cast like CCs a lot of Pokemons, and your backline can carry the fight, or your other Pokemons can carry the fight. So yeah. Then we have Screamtail. Screamtail is Psychic, Fairy, Sound. That's a scary type combination, because Sound loves Psychic and loves Fairy in its team, like in synergies. So Screamtail is very, very scary with its synergies. It is very tanky, it is hard hitting, it has a lot of speed. This is crazy, crazy. And Screamtail has the ability Boom Burst. It deals 60 special damage to all adjacent units, including allies, and causing flinch. So it has like a lot of stats. Has an AoE ability, also damaging its allies, but also it's like CC, so it doesn't matter. Like if you have only Screamtail fighting for you, that's enough. And Screamtail seems to look like a very, very scary Pokemon. And I'm seeing right now that people are already calling for a nerf for Screamtail. And we will see if this call will be heard, if it really needs a nerf, or if it's just like a patch day 1 to outrage. But we will see. But Screamtail seems to be very, very scary. To the next one, the legendaries. We get the legendaries. I think they are called the Loyal Trio or something. They are the legendaries from Scarlet and Violet, the DLC, I think. So first of all, we got Okidogi, one of the stupidest name in Pokemon. It's a poison fighting wild Pokemon. It is a very high hitting, bulky unit. It has the ability Chain Crazed, which self-inflicts poison for 3 seconds and gain 15 attack, 10 defense and 20 speed. So just slap a Fluffy Tail or an Assault Vest on it and everything is fine. It just gets a massive stat boost. So Okidogi seems pretty like a pretty hard-hitting and potentially scary unit. Especially, I think, in fighting and wild, and not so much in poison. But, I mean, poison can always use a good frontliner, so maybe it is also pretty scary there. But we have to see. Then we get Pheasant Dipiti, also a stupid name. It's Poison Fairy Sound. So Sound gets another legendary Pokemon to pick from. Very nice. It's a 2-range Pokemon with a good amount of speed and good amount of AD. And its ability is Disarming Voice also. But it's Disarming Voice in a 3 tile radius. So it's basically every opponent. And also it scales with AP. I didn't mention it before, but it scales with AP. And CC that scales with AP is always scary and never a good idea, I think. It's never ever a good idea. We saw it with Vanillish last patch, because the Freeze had an AP scaling. And I think this is also a bad idea. But we have to see how bad this will be. Especially on an 80 PP ability. Yeah, this is a scary Pheasant the Pity. And then there's Monkey Dory. Monkey Dory has the best name of all of these 3. It's Poison, Psychic and Human. So a huge Pokemon from Psychic Human, I think. The target, its ability is Mind Bend. The target is possessed for 2 seconds. If Rune Protect or already possessed, deal 100 damage instead. So again, CC with AP scaling, very, very bad. I don't like it. And Possess is basically, it will be later, there will be a picture of it later on and an explanation, but basically Possessed is a status inflicted on opponents, making the opponent fight for your team. And this is scary. So you can basically possess an opponent's carry, and this carry will fight for you for 2 seconds in this case. But if you give your Monkey Dory like a Wildlands with Assault you can just possess everyone for free. Forever. This is pretty scary. And I'm reading like that many people are already upset with it. Yeah. Oh yeah, it doesn't need Soul You because it's Psychic. Yeah, you can just make a choice spec on it. Yeah, it's Psychic, so just put a choice spec on it. And it's GG's. Yeah. CC with AP scaling, never a fan of it. Will always be OP. Yeah, we have to see. And also it's a very high-hitting attack ability otherwise. So, and then there's another new Pokemon. It's a special Pokemon. It's Surfing Pikachu. Surfing Pikachu only appears at Aquatic 8 at the first wave. And Surfing Pikachu has very nice stats. It's a very cute Pokemon. It's electric aquatic fairy, so when you have Aquatic 8 and the Surfing Pikachu joins you, it benefits from electric and fairy as well. But you most likely will not have electric or fairy have activated them in Aquatic 8. But yeah, you never know which stones you get. Surfing Pikachu has the ability, as each wave approaches, Surfing Pikachu feels motivated, which fills up his PP bar. So when the wave comes, every 8 seconds, after Pikachu when Pikachu is on the board, whenever a new wave comes, it fills its PP bar, so it casts its ability in an instant. And it has the ability Surf, which is already in HM in the game, so it will deal a good amount of damage. I already played it, so if you want to see Surfing Pikachu, there's a video on my channel. And Surfing Pikachu seems decent. It's not like crazy or something, but it seems decent. It deals like around 100 to 200 damage per round, per fight, and tanks a bit. So, and it's like a good destruction. Yeah, nothing special, but even though it's a special Pokemon, but it's pretty nice. Now we get to the changes to Pokemon and abilities. First of all, the common Pokemons. There's a nerf to the Chimchar line. Chimchar in Monferno will have less defense and special defense, which is fine. Chimchar in Monferno can be menaces, so to get to nerf the early game and punish if you reroll for those Pokemons and have like a lesser health pool potentially to balance out the strength of Infernape. That's a good change. Kakuna gets nerfed, it has less speed. That's fine. I guess Kakuna's slow, so it has less speed. Retaliate, the ability of Lillipup and the TM you can get from human, is buffed again. Now it deals 150% of the user's attack per fallen ally. Maybe this will make the ability kinda desirable on high AD Pokemons, but we will see. Probably not, but yeah. Always nice to give Lillipup a little bit of a buff. So now we change to uncommon Pokemon's Piplup, and its line has their attack buffed by quite a bit, like 1, 3, and 4. So it's actually good to evolve Piplup into Printlup now, because of the ability Metal Claw, which deals true damage based on your AD. So having a higher AD stats does buff the ability, making Piplup stronger. Or does it deal true damage? I don't know, but it's with AD. So it's very good. It's very nice. Good buff. Makes Piplup more desirable for steel or ice or water teams. Horsey line is also buffed. Just a little bit. So Seadra gets 1 more AD and Seadra King gets 3. Which also means that its ability does more damage because the ability Whirlpool scales with 80, so that's very nice. Igglybuff has its typing changed from normal Sound Baby to normal Fairy Baby, when it evolves into Jigglypuff, it's still a normal sound fairy. Or normal fairy sound. So this just is a consistency hit to sound a little bit. Because of all the new sound Pokemons you have now in the pool, like in the ad picks and regional picks and so on. So that you cannot escalate that early on with your sound teams. So that sound is a bit more of a mid-game to late-game comp and not like an early-game thing. That's a nice change. Also, it makes early fairy better. I don't know if early fairy needed to be better, but it is now. Also, it makes baby fairy boards stronger. Actually, can have baby fairy, like you can have baby 5 fairy 4 if you're interested. Easily. Hisoon Zorua is no longer in normal regions and only in ghost regions, which is fine. Doesn't change much in its usage. Bidoof is no longer a wild Pokemon. It is now an additional pick. So its stats are increased by a bit, and it got a new ability, Super Fang. It deals 25% of the target's max HP as true damage. That's very nice. It mirrors the Super Fang ability of the game. I think it's a pretty strong ability. And it's better than Bidoof's ability before. I think Bidoof's ability before was that it deals some damage and extra damage against grass Pokemons. So Bidoof was kinda meh. But yeah, so Bidoof is now only a normal aquatic with a good ability and better stats. So pretty nice. Mime Jr. is now an uncommon unit instead of a rare. Again, strengthening, it gives early access to, or more access to babies in your ad picks, early ad picks. So that's pretty nice. Then we got Smooching buffs. Just gets a small buff in special defense. Pretty nice. Capsicid line is a little bit nerfed here because Capsicid's ability is pretty strong. Metronome, the ability of Clever is changed. Luck now increases the chance to use a stronger ability, so giving Clever a lucky egg does make it roll better abilities, which is nice. Which I don't know which counts as a strong ability and what is a weak ability. I don't know if it's based on stats or if it's from a unique and legendary or so on and so forth, but yeah, it should be better on average still with a lucky egg now. Suction heal, I think it should be suction heal by Dynamo. The healing has no AP scaling and the PP is lowered, so it will cast its ability more often, but the healing cannot be increased anymore, which is a nerf to carry Dynamo, which could be from time to time very toxic to play against because it was very tanky, had a lot of healing, and was like an unkillable tank. So that's a nice change. So now changes to the rare Pokemon. Obstruct ability of Obstagoon was changed. The protect duration is now 2 at all tiers. And the PP of is lowered by Obstagoon. So that's a nice change. I mean, it's a nerf for like the duration for Obstagoon, but it gets its ability out quicker. So this is pretty nice. I think overall it's nice to have it cast quicker, even though the duration is lowered a bit. I mean, it's lowered by a second, but it's fine. Waterfall is buffed. It's in TM and the ability of Seeking. It just gets more shielding. And I think it needs more shielding because Waterfall is very underwhelming. It doesn't make your it didn't make your units very tanky, but now it might be better. I'm optimistic that maybe Waterfall. Maybe I will consider using Waterfall now. Maybe. Yanma is nerfed. It only gains 1 speed per second now instead of 2. So it's half the speed it gains per second. Which makes Yanma less of a hyper carry in late game. But I think Yanma is still pretty good. I mean, you can still play Yanma. It's still very good. It's just not like that menace that it was before. The Tripinch line was changed a little bit. HP on Tripinch is lowered. The HP on Lygon is increased. And the def and special def on Tripinch and Vibrava is also lowered. So that's overall a nerf. Because you most of the times only lose Tripinch and Vibrava. So overall it's a nerf. I mean, Vibrava and Tripinch were like very, very good units. Like Vibrava was a very tanky unit and basically stable in every dragon team. And a very easily play, and the units you want to play in Bug, you want in Dragon, because in grounds, because you can play in grounds Gabites, Vibrava, and then a first dragon. Sometimes it's your legendary, sometimes it's just a bag on for extra monster. So it makes Vibrava less of an auto include in the teams. And also a consideration to like maybe leave out, especially in Dragon. Now the change that I'm most stoked about, Vanillite's change. Vanillite gets a bit more attack on all stages, which is fine. And the freeze duration, base freeze duration is increased from 2 to 3, which is a buff. But there's no AP scaling anymore on the CC. The freeze has no AP scaling. So you cannot be frozen for an eternity anymore, which is very nice. I like this change. This is how it's supposed to be. No AP scaling on CC. Unless the CC starts at 1 second, maybe. Maybe then you can consider it, but even then it's too good. Even then it's way too good. So no AP scaling on CC is very, very nice. Thumbs up. And there's Natu. It's now a rare Pokemon. So it's a rare ad pick now, and its stats was like were adjusted accordingly. So yeah. Nothing to say about this. I mean, it's a psychic flying Pokemon. It's fine. It's a fine unit, but yeah, we will see. So, changes to the epic Pokemons. Cherim Sunlight is now a tier 3 Pokemon. Adjusted. Its stats are adjusted. So, you now have Cherubi, Cherim as tier 2. And then Cherim Sunlight as the tier 3. So if Cherim is gets light, I think it's either under the sun or on the light spot or something, then it's a tier 3 unit now and has higher stats and is a better unit. So it has more healing on its ability and everything else. So it's very, very nice. And it's even more worth to use this Pokemon now. So very nice change. Drowsy's Dream Eater ability is also buffed. So if no enemy Pokemon suffers from sleep, put the target to sleep for 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds. scaling with AP. It seems like and regain all PP. So if Drowsy puts everyone to sleep, it casts its ability, puts someone to sleep, gets PP back, and casts its ability again in an instant, and eats their brain. I mean, their dreams. So Drowsy is basically double casting all the time. So if you have like the possibility to somehow play Drowsy in a sounds team, this is maybe an option. To give Drowsy Metronome and have it cast twice in an instant. Easy stacks, I guess. And nice CC. So there are more changes. Slack Off line has got a couple changes. First of all, Slack Off heals 30%, like the ability Slack Off. Heals 30% max HP at all tiers. And the AP scaling is now 1 instead of half. And the sleep duration is reduced to only 3 seconds. A massive buff. Slack Off should be better with this. Slack Off should feel better, especially with the other changes. Because Vigoroth gets the passive that it's immune to sleep. And Slacking gets the passive that after waking up, after falling asleep, it gets enraged status for 3 seconds. So it goes to sleep, comes back up, and smacks everyone. So Slacking can be a menace. Or you can have just Vigoroth healing 30% max HP every time it casts its ability because it cannot fall asleep. So having a Vigoroth in your normal or in your fields team is actually pretty nice now. Because it's a very tanky unit. With a lot of sustain now. And a good amount of damage. The Scribble line is a bit nerfed, it was a bit too tanky, I guess. So it gets taken off some HP. And Galade's ability gets a small buff, which is also fine. I mean, it is very hard to get to Galade, so Galade should be a hard-hitting unit, so that's nice. Now we get to the changes to all the Ultra Pokemons. There are so many changes. The change is Conkeldurr spawns instead of 1 pillar, 2. This sounds like not that much of a change, but it's crazy. If you get to Conkeldurr, having 2 pillars spawned is massive. Because now you have like 1 pillar for disruption for the target, like against flying or against Charizard and so on. And also like your second pillar can be used for the ability cast or something. So it's very, very nice. Or you can just use both as dummies in the front line to tank or so on. So there is a lot of stuff you can do with 2 pillars that you can't do with 1. So Conkeldurr is actually a good unit. So yeah. And then we get to the changes to all the unique Pokemons. There are a lot of changes to unique Pokemons. So first of all, Plusle and Minun get nerfed. They lose Force Speed. The poor guys. But also their ability is changed. So if Plusle and Minun are alone, they only deal half the damage to adjacent enemies. That's a good nerf to their damage. So you cannot play one of them as your main carry and the other one just to be the guy who dies. You need both of them to actually deal damage now. And that is how it's supposed to be, because Plusle and Minun are like the OG tech team in Pokemon. So they are basically made for duo battles. So there should be a good duo, and very bad and weak as a single pair. Like a single pair, as a single person, a Pokemon. Mach Punch is buffed, the ability of Kapfu and Tyrogue. It has 10 more special damage. So Kapfu can get quicker to its dark form. Maybe, hopefully. But also, talking about the dark form, Wicked Blow, Urshifu single, it's the Urshifu single strike one, so the dark one. It loses 20 true damage. So it's less damaging. Like it's a fourth of the damage it loses. So it's a big chunk of damage it loses, but it was also very, very strong. But now that it's easier to get to, that's a nice nerf. And Surging Strikes, so the water Urshifu, has now a 200 milliseconds delay between hits. And 200 milliseconds is around 3 seconds. So it will need 3 seconds to hit. Pew 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 pew. Oh no, it's not 3 seconds. What I'm talking about. But it's a small delay now. Like between hits. So that's very nice. Alcremie gets a lot of buffs and changes. Alcremie Vanilla now gives 20 more shields on cast, so it's 80 shield on cast. Alcremie Ruby now gives 10 attack on cast, and Alcremie Rainbow now instead of 60 PP gives 60 AP. I don't know how good this change is, but the other two changes are very, very nice. So I mean, it gives 60 PP instead of 60 AP, so that was what I meant. I think I misspoke right now. So, oh, its ability, yeah, it scares with Psychic. So Alcremie Psychic 4 with Specs gives around 120 PP, so it gives Pokemon the ability to cast instantly. Okay, yeah. So this is a mana printer, basically. So that's kind of nice. We have to see how good this is, because Alcremie is rarely used. And with rarely, I mean never. I've never seen Alcremie aside from like the patch it was released. So yeah. The same is with the next Pokemon. Like, never saw it again. Veluza, its ability Fillet Away is buffed. Instead of 50%, it sacrifices only 30% HP. This is a massive buff, because Veluza sacrificed its HP to get stat boosts. Now the HP loss is lower, so its stat boost comes with a lower cost and can be easier refilled, like your HP can be refilled easier with Shell Bell or like a Life Orb or something, Green Orb I mean, or something. So that's a nice change. I don't think that this will make Veluza like a very, very strong Pokemon, but a decent one at least, so you do not feel as bad to pick Veluza anymore, or have to pick a Veluza. So more changes. Charkada. You can only obtain the armors after beating stage 15. So after the PvE stage 15. You have to beat PvE stage 15 to gain the Charkada armor. And then, after you beating them, the game will check what is your high synergy, Psychic or Ghost, and depending on Psychic or Ghost, you get your armor. So you have to play Psychic or Ghost to get the specific armor you want at stage 15. So you can't get stage T10, evolve your Charkada into a Cerulege or Armarouge and stop everyone. So you have to play accordingly to get those Pokemons. Armarouge's abilities changed. The secondary targets, the number of secondary targets no longer scale with AP. So There's no AP scaling anymore. And the final hit deals 15 special damage instead of 10. And the incorrect damage numbers in the descriptions are changed. So we talked about Stantler before. Its ability, Psy Shield Bash, is changed. Like, the damage is lowered. So Stantler deals, instead of 60, only deals 50. And Wordier gets the 60 special damage. And it has a new ability. A new animation, I mean. The ability has a new animation. This is, like, not that much of a nerf. It's fine. Especially because it evolves later on. So it's just a slight damage loss, which is okay, I think, for Stantler. Tropius Gourmet Dish now gives you 3 berries instead of 1, which is nice. So Tropius might be better now, or might feel better. And maybe it encourages a bit more to play Gourmet. Mega Sableye now has like loses 1 attack and loses 3 special defense and defense. It was a bit too much. It was a bit too strong. So it's especially was too tanky. So it loses tankiness and a bit of damage. Nice nerf. Mega Sableye still playable, not dead or anything. So it's still a good unit. So if you're a Sableye lover, and still pick it. Psychic Fangs, Bruxish ability, now calculates, now resets the special defense, and defense I mean, before applying damage. So the special defense reset is applied before doing damage, this way. So you lower, so the defense, special defense is lowered before damage, so the damage you deal with Psychic Fangs is increased. Therefore, the special damage is changed. Like this damage is changed. And instead of physical damage, Psychic Fang also deals special damage now. So it loses 20 damage, and also the damage it deals is changed, like the type of damage. So instead of physical, it's special damage now. Drampa gets a buff. It has 80 PP now, so it might be good to play Aqua Egg on Drampa now. So I think 80 AP is like the threshold you like playing Aqua Egg. So you want to get this Aqua Egg on Drampa, so it can cast its ability, so it can get more AP quicker. So that's a nice thing. I love Drampa. I hope Drampa can go places, will be stronger. For the love of every dragon normal player. And more unique changes. Tapu Fini is nerfed. HP and PP gain is lowered by 5. So it's from 30 to 25. Goldengo is nerfed a bit. It was a bit too tanky, so it gets a slight nerf in both HP and special and like physical defense. Goldengo still a very good unit, but it needed a slow, like a small nerf. And a change to Gliscor's passive. Gliscor isn't a death sentence for every poison team now. So it isn't the best counter against poison anymore. It's still a good counter against poison. So instead of being hit by poison, so before it was poison heals instead of damaging Gliscor, now the first stack of poison on Gliscor is healing Gliscor. So the first poison stack that is applied on Gliscor will heal it. Every other poison stack, and so therefore poison damage, is still going through. So it's just the very first stack that Gliscor gets heals it. So the initial poison stack will be countered. So the second stack, basically, yeah, maybe that's a good comment. Yeah, the first stack heals Gliscor. The second stack of poison will take like damage that counters the healing from the first stack that you got, and the third stack will actually deal damage. So you against like a weak poison team, you go plus. Against a weak poison team, against a stronger poison team, you go fine, and against like a very strong poison team that applies stacks quick, Gliscor loses more now. So it's not a perfect counter. Poison teams cannot play against Gliscor, and it's not an auto win anymore. Pretty nice change. I like it. So there's not like a need to pivot out of poison only because there's like Gliscor in the lobby, and also there's no need to play Gliscor because there are many poison Pokemons in your opponent's team. So you can like actually pick other uniques and not feel forced to play this one. Nice change, like it. So it's overall a nerf, but it's a fine one. Now changes to the legendaries. Lance Rev, the ability by Zygarde 10%, so the dog. The special debuff, special and defense debuff is lowered from 8 to 5. And the AP scaling is increased from 0.5 to 1. So overall, I think it will still deal more damage than before. Because the debuff isn't as high. Like, isn't nerfed as much as the AP scaling is buffed. So you will deal slightly more damage than before. But I think you will not notice it that much. But it's just a slightly bit more damage on the Zygarde dog. Especially you deal more damage against low, like less tanky units. Like against less tanky units you will deal more damage, against tankier units you will deal slightly more damage. Or similar damage at least. Articuno's ability Blizzard is getting buffed. Articuno was the last couple of patches non-existent. Like even in ice teams you really were like not happy about seeing Articuno. Aside, like the only good thing it did was freezing everyone, and its damage was, yeah, lackluster. So it got double damage. Its damage doubles on every stage. So it deals 30 damage instead of 50 now. So it should be pretty strong actually. 30 damage, so it scales better with AP. I mean, Pokenomicon you can still build it on Articuno, so more AP, better AP scaling, because more, so it's very good. Yeah, Articuno seems to be very, very strong with this one, I think. Higher numbers always means better scaling with AP, and that's very nice. I think Articuno is actually a good unit now. And you will not be so unhappy to pick this. A Laser Blade, the ability of Iron Violence will be nerfed. The shielding and the special damage is lowered from 30 to 25. It's a slight nerf, but I think Iron Valiant was very, very strong. So it's a bit less menacing and easier to kill. But I think the special damage, like the damage was crazy, but the shielding is the most annoying part always, because shielding and damaging is always annoying. So less shielding, it kills not as quick, and it gets killed quicker. Nice change. Dialga and Palkia gets buffed. Their abilities both costs 10s. I don't like personally don't like the Palkia change because I hate the disruption, like the displacement effect by Palkia. I think it should be fine. The displacement effect is just annoying. So yeah, and Dialga, I think it has one of the strongest abilities in the game. So, but I hardly ever see it because its ability is like does not sound that crazy because it's not a damaging ability because it only gives resurrection to one of your Pokemons. Just resurrection. But yeah, I think Dialga could get... it's a nice nerf, it has one of the strongest abilities, so we will see. Probably we'll see it more often. But now there's the change I like the most. The Necrozma change. Its ability Prismatic Laser. The laser now hits in a free white column centered on the target. So it centers... it's the target that Necrozma is attacking. Necrozma shoots a free white column centered laser. So centered the Pokemon in the middle and to the left and the right of this of the target. There will be the laser. And pushes the enemy in the direction of the laser. So Necrozma's ability is so good now. I love it. I think Necrozma will be so fun to play with now. Before it was free white columns, just shooting it like somewhere, like straight, and it was pushing away the Pokemons. It felt very counterintuitive to the ability. Your placement, like you needed a very good light spot to even play Necrozma, to make it work and everything. Now Necrozma is a good unit. I really like the changes. So therefore Necrozma loses some damage. So instead of 80 it deals 60 special damage. But it's so good. It's so good. So instead of shooting a laser just in front of itself, centered around itself, it's shooting at actually a target. It targets something. At least it's hitting one Pokemon at minimum and pushing everyone into the direction of the laser to maybe shoot a second laser. So this is very nice. I love this. I really love this, and I will try to play Necrozma this patch. So yeah, and it's also harder to counter Necrozma now because you can't dodge your Necrozma's damage by just putting your team on the other side. Fury Wave, the ability of Galar-Moltres, is now lowered by 3. Which is fine. I think 30 is a nicer number than 33, so yeah. And Malignant Chain, the ability by Pekarant, is changed. Instead of applying the locked status, it applies the possessed status. And like explained earlier, the possessed status is a status inflicted to an opponent and makes that the opponent's Pokemon temporarily fights against its own team. So if you play against your opponent and you possess their Entei will hit the other team, like your opponent's team. So your opponent's Entei will hit your opponent's team. And if your if the Entei is the only Pokemon left, it will be infatuated. But yeah, let's go to the next slide. Because there are more legendary changes. So there's the nerf to Scale Shot, Roaring Moon's ability. The damage to enemies in the path is halved. So instead of 20, it's 10 physical damage per scale. Good change. So Roaring Moon is a scary Pokemon. And yeah. Having it deal less damage with its 8 scales through everyone is good. Because instead of... it was 160 damage possible if every scale hits your Pokemon's in the path. Now it's just 80, which is good nerf. I like it. Roaring Moon is still a good Pokemon, I guess, as I think. So you're still happy about a ranged carry in Fossil or Dragon or even Dark. So Roaring Moon's still good. Deoxys' normal form ability Psycho boost is increased by 10. So special damage is increased by 10. Which is nice. I mean, it's a psychic Pokemon, so 10 is always a bit more than 10 because of the scaling of the AP and so on. But yeah. So then there's a buff to Mewtwo. Its ability costs less, 10 less. Mew speed buff. Mew is a bit quicker, which is nice because it has a teleport ability, so having more speed is good with the Mana Scarf upgrades, Soldew combination, so you get your speed quicker up, get more ability casts, and you dash around, teleport around, like not dash, but teleport around, and you will never get caught. It's a pretty nice change. Doom Desire, Jirachi's ability is changed from restored 60 to restoring max PP if target is killed in a duration. So if Jirachi casts its ability, after a few seconds it deals damage. But during the ability cast, like during the damage, like before the damage hits the target, like in a time frame before it hits the target, the Pokemon is killed. Jirachi gets its PP back and casts its ability again. Very nice. Now a huge change that I like a lot is Kecleon and Arceus. If they are dragons, their first dragon type will always be, like their first type will always be dragon. So Dragon 3 will work properly with Arceus and Kecleon now. So that's very, very, very nice. So you can play Kecleon and Arceus in Dragon comps very, very easily. So Dragon Amorphous, for example, wouldn't be that mad about a Kecleon or an Arceus in their team. So there are a couple of abilities that we already saw, like Psychic Fangs or Lance Rev or Scale Shots that are changed from physical to special damage. Especially Scale Shots hit at the target is changed from physical to special damage. So the damage from the scales passing through is still physical, but the hit at the farthest target is special now. This is just for having more counterplay, because there aren't really items that you can use to counter this. Because, like, you couldn't use Power Lens against these abilities, or, like, you could basically build a Pokédoll or a Rocket Helmet against physical abilities. But it isn't as good as a Power Lens, for example. So it makes it easier to counterplay, because you don't want, because like one ability is physical damage and every other ability is special damage, to build physical physical defense items to counter one ability, because that's counterintuitive. So and there are changes to really edge Pokemons and special Pokemons as well. Scorbunny is now a 2-range Pokemon instead of a 1-range Pokemon. So therefore its defense, special defense is lowered, but every other stat is the same. And this is a good and a nice change, because I think Scorbunny has an ability that is very bad for a frontliner, but pretty nice for a mid-range unit. So that's a good change. So Scorbunny can actually use its ability and can actually scale. So I like this change. So unknown chains. There are a lot of unknown changes. Unknowns can no longer eat gourmet dishes. Very nice. So they no longer get the gourmet dishes passed. Unknown G and T are removed after stage 20. G and T, you can see it on the right side. T gives you 3 random berries, and G gives you 5 gold. In late game, this feels bad to roll those. Unknown R and T are added before stage 10, I mean. So you can get the 3 berry one before stage 10 now. And Unknown R is you gain 6 free shops. You can get it early now. Having 6 free shop rerolls in the early game, like before stage 10, is very nice. It's very, very good for your econ. So that's a nice thing to get. Also, berries is very good to secure a win streak before Gyarados. So also very nice thing. Unknown P, so the one that spawns bugs. The bugs, the rarity of bugs is now increased with stage level, and the same goes for Unknown Wish. This is where you can get a Pokemon of your highest rarity, I think. Yeah, gets highest rarity matching their highest synergy. Rarity given now increased with stage level. And Unknown F now gives 2 fishes instead of 3, so you do not get an instant wishy-washy schooled form, just small, like maybe 2 small fishies. And also the chance that you get to get a wishy-washy is lower, which is pretty nice. So now we get to changes to the synergies. Dark gets nerfed again. Like, gets nerfed a bit. So crit power is 30 from 3060 to 100 is now 305080. Still good, still huge amounts of crit power you get for Dark. But that's a nice one. That's a good change. Dark was pretty oppressive from time to time, so that's a nice change. Change water, good rods, fishing rarity, so instead of you have a 5% higher chance to get a special Pokemon instead, and a 5% lower chance to get a common. That's nice, so you get your Magikarp quicker. I think Good Rod was Magikarp. But yeah, you get your Pokemon quicker. And then there's the new Aquatic 8 Search Surfer. After the first wave, a surfing Pikachu joins you in battle. Waves after the first hit every 8 seconds for the rest of the combat. So after every 8 seconds, there will be another wave without a Pikachu. So only the first wave has a Pikachu. And we already saw Pikachu. It's a decent unit. It's more of a gimmick, but I think it's Aquatic 8 is pretty nice. I already played it. You could also already see it. I think it's nice. Now the fossil change. Instead of healing, the fossil Pokemon gets a shield. And the attack gains is increased by 10. It's stage 1 and 2. So I think this change means 2 things. First of all, in the normal game state, it doesn't change that much. But it's easier to counter fossils now. Because they gain shielding instead of HP. You can counter the revive of the fossil Pokemons with a protective glove, for example. So you can build a protective glove, protective pad, which counters shielding, so you deal more damage against fossils when they revive. Also, they gain a shield, which means fossil Pokemons can build Shell Bell and heal themselves, like while they are shielded. So they can theoretically, if they have like 100 shield, can heal up their HP to 100 during the shield duration with a Shell Bell, for example. So this is not a real nerf. I mean, it's a nerf in the sense that it has counterplay now. but it also is kinda above if you're playing smart with it. So Fossil is now... You are now able to counter Fossil at least. But it's not weaker in any way, I think. It's just that you can counter it. So you have the opportunity to counter Fossil, but it's not weaker. I think it's as strong as it was before, but you just have the chance to counter it. Which is nice. So if you lose against Fossil and don't have a protective pet on your team, even though you had the possibility to get a protective pet, it's your fault. You are the one at fault here. You are losing the game for yourself. So you have the possibility to counter this. Also, like with fighting. Fighting can crack these shields. Fighting is very good against Fossil now. So that's a very, very nice change. I really appreciate. Because you have counterplay with Fossil, against Fossil with protective pets and fighting. But you also have with fighting with Fossil, I mean the possibility to heal up during the shield duration with Shell Bell or so on. So this is a nice change. Change to the craftable items. Punching Glove. Punching Glove is changed. It deals additional physical damage after all the calculations, or the computations. So after crit, fairy, special damage, steel, true damage, etc. is applied. After that, Punching Glove will deal damage. So Punching Glove is a separate instance of damage now. So it will be reduced by fighting, it will give 2 stacks to Muscle Band, and it won't benefit from fairy special damage. This is something we have to keep in mind. Scope Lens will be nerfed. It steals 5 less PP, and also it only steals the amount the Pokemon the target has. So cannot steal more PP than the target has. So if your target has 5 PP, you can only steal 5 PP. Simple. I guess that's simple. So, like, you can only steal what the person has. So, no, I mean, that's simple math. Power Lens now reflects special damage added to special basic attacks like Fairy Charge, Charge, Teleport, etc. So that's also nice. So that's also a very nice change. So Power Lens is now a counter against Fairy teams. I like this a lot. And Lucky Egg is nerfed. It only gives 10 defense. I mean, that it gave 12 was also very high always. 50 AP only. And the luck change from 50 to 30 is massive. Lucky Egg was like a very, very strong item. Used a lot on different units because the luck stat of 50 increased so much. So many stats. Like so many, like crits, execution rates, CCs, dodge chance, high grapple, and it made them too consistent at times. So lowering this is a high grapple nerf, especially a high grapple nerf. So maybe a little high grapple compensation buff would have been nice, but we will see if this is if high grapple can be good enough this patch. But I think this is especially important because of the crits, spell crits thing, like as well with Scope Lens. Scope Lens, Lucky Egg, and the spell crit item were too strong as a combination. Now it's still good. You can still build it. It's still good, but it's not as strong as it was before. And yeah, because of the Scope Lens change, crit Pokemons cannot gain PP against like tanks with 0 mana. because they cannot steal anything anymore. So this is a good change. Now yeah, you build spell crit, the spell crit thing now on Pokemons that want a spell crit, actually. Like, you can still build it on Galarian Moltres. It's still good. So next is the dishes. Carry is nerfed. Carry is changed from 5 seconds to 4 seconds, the rage duration. Even though the chatter before called Carry a moron, I think Carry wouldn't rage that long. So good that we, can't rage that long anymore because we lowered the duration of it. So Moo Milk is buffed. It gets 5 more permanent HP. Star Sweet, 5 more permanent AP. Berry Sweet, 5 more permanent HP. Berry Juice, 20 more shielding. Smoked Filet, 2 more attack and 5 more AP. Rocky Salt, 2 more seconds rune protection. Spinder's Cocktail can give you now 10 attack, 50 AP, 50 speed, and or 100 shielding. Binding Mochi now inflicts possessed status instead of infatuation. Hearty Stew, if fed to a Pokemon holding a cooking pot, the Pokemon is now burned for 5 seconds, which is pretty nice. Because cooking pots synergize with burn. So Hearty Stew is a very nice item for a cooking pot Pokemon. These changes are all very nice. I think these changes will make Gourmet more appealing, or certain Gourmet units more appealing to use as chefs. So more flexibility, more versatility, more creativity. I like it. I hope this will change people's perception of Gourmet, so that not only Tech Baron can play Gourmet, but everyone else appreciates them now. So yeah, I like these changes, and I will personally play more Gourmet. I mean, I always try to look for a good window to play Gourmet if it benefits my team. So maybe people will look at this more. Yeah, you actually want Pekkerant now. That's also true. Yeah, Pekkerant is a pretty good unit now because of the new possession status that it can afflict, and like giving Binding Mochi to another unit, so that at the start of the game you inflict possession on opponent's Pokemon in an instant. Imagine this on a Nickit, on a Feeval. You give it possession and then steal the items of another Pokemon. Disgusting piece of shit. Yeah, or on any other Dark unit that can jump into the backline, yeah. That's also true, yeah. On Mega Sableye, also scary. This Binding Mochi will haunt some people's dreams and give some trauma. I think in general also Possessed will give people a trauma. So now we get to the next item changes. Artificial items. There are 2 new artificial items. The Berserk Gene, which gives monster synergy and confuses your Pokemon every time it gets a stack. For the first time it gets a stack, it's getting confused, and it's confused for the whole game, for the whole fight. I mean, it's fitting because it's going Berserk. So if you give someone Berserk Gene, think about placing some rune protection on it, or like next to it, so you get against rune protection. And then there's the surfing board. It gives aquatic synergy. I like this. And the holder casts surf at every tidal wave. Ooh, so you surf, you grind the waves. Let's go. That's very nice. Magmarizer is nerfed. It gives only 3 attack instead of 5. And Big Nuggets gives only 2 gold instead of 3. So these are nice changes. Magmarizer is always so strong, so making it slightly less strong is good. And having Big Nugget Giving less of an economy boost is pretty nice, yeah. I wonder how does Golduck with Berserk Gene work? Golduck? Probably normally or normal, or I mean it's confused, so while casting its ability it's confused, so it gets more AP, doesn't it? So we are changing to the changes. Next changes. Shiny items. Comet charge is nerfed. The protect duration is now 2 seconds instead of 3. It's like nerf. It's fine. I mean, if you give Pokemon Comet charge, it should be a suicide bomber to go into the team and be killed by that team without too much of protection. So that's nice. Gold Ball now gives 50 shield. I guess it's okay. I think it not giving any stats was fine, but because you get another unit on your board, which is insane enough. But I guess 50 shield is also fine. Absorb Bulb gives now 20 defense and special defense instead of 15. I'm sorry. Pretty nice buff, so you can absorb more damage and therefore deal more damage. A repeat ball is also buffed. I think a good amount. So instead of 100 rerolls, you only need 80 rerolls for uniques, and you need 120 instead of 150 for legendaries. So you get to the legendary tier way quicker for just investing 120 rerolls. Or less if you play Psychic, because the reroll of your the free reroll you get from your unknowns also counts. So yeah, then there's a change gold bottle cap, a change to gold bottle cap. No longer gives plus 1% crit chance per gold you have. This is compensated by the new luck formula, which we will see pretty soon. Treasure Town encounter items are also being changed. Or there's one being changed. The Gimme Ghoul coin no longer gives 1 additional gold per round. Instead, it gives Duskull gives it for free along with regular items in Carousel. New item, Treasure Box. Instead of this is a Xatu change. You get, instead of a wonder box, you get now a treasure box for 10 golds, which gives you 2 random item components, which is pretty nice. Or you have to either pick a component or the coin. Ah, Duskull Encounter gives it for free along with regular items in Carousel. Oh, okay. Okay, so you can. Oh, okay, so you can either pick Gimme Ghoul coin, or you get an item, or you can pick an item for free. Okay, that's nice, yeah. And that's a nice change. I like it. So next, we get to gameplay changes. The targeting is changed. So your units now continue to target the same opponent, like the same enemy, unless the enemy they are attacking moves out of their attack range. So they will follow a little bit your opponents until they're out of range. And if they're not in range, they will change a target randomly among the nearest ones. So your Pokemons will follow a bit other Pokemons they are fighting right now until they are not able to attack them anymore because of range. This is very nice because especially like Pokemons that dash, like Shinx, the new Surskit, Weasel, or whatever. You dash through dash through the team, and the Pokemon attacking them will follow them for a bit until the dasher is out of range. So this is some extra disruption, which is pretty nice. I like this change. Also, it will not fuck with like sometimes like Pokemon target one Pokemon and then for whatever reason they changed target before because of like some slight movements. This will not happen anymore, almost that easily. So only if they really move out of range, or like because of displacements like aquatic or so on, or like Palkia ability or something. Yeah, the new status possessed, I already talked about it. It temporarily makes it the Pokemon having the possessed status temporarily fights for the other team. So if you give someone the possessed status, it will fight for you against your opponent. So it will just make an infight, basically. The paralysis status effect is changed. Instead of minus 50 speed buff, it's the speed buff is lowered by 50%, so it's more effective against Pokemon with a high speed stat, and it's less effective against Pokemon with a low speed stat. So more impactful on fast Pokemons than slow Pokemon. So you want to have paralysis against very quick Pokemons, which is it's a pretty nice change. Rage status gets also a small adjustment. Instead of 100, it's 80 speed gain, and the sleep and freeze duration is halved immediately the moment they gain the rage status. And yeah, and its description is changed, or fixed rather. So I like the rage thing. That's pretty nice. I like paralysis is nice counter thing now. This is like making paralysis an intuitive counter to speed. So that's very nice. Before it was like that slow Pokemons were not able to attack because they like minus 50 speed. Because there are like so many Pokemons with lower than 50 speed. They will not attack. That happened. So this is better now, so it doesn't feel as frustrating to get paralyzed on your like low speed Pokemons. And it also feels better to paralyze high speed Pokemons. So that's nice. Good changes. Gameplay changes. Every percent of crit chance above 100% crit chance now only gives 1% crit instead of 2% crit power. So it's just halved, which is good. It's fine. It makes crit builds less dominant. So that's a very nice change. I really like this one. I really disliked how you could just spam crit items on some dark units and they would just one-shot everything because they get like tons of crit power stacked onto. So that's a nice change. And the luck formula is changed, so it's chance times parenthesis 1 plus luck divided by 100 parenthesis. So this was before, now it's changed to chance by the power of 1 minus luck divided by 100. This change is explained in text here. Luckily Curry or Keldan gave us an explanation for this, because this looks like math, and we don't like math, we like reading the changes. The luck is now more valuable for low base chance effects under 50% and less valuable for high base chance effects over 50%. You always have a risk of missing unless you reach 100% luck, which is the new max cap for luck. And like hitting 100% luck is pretty rough. Like, I think not possible. I don't know how it is possible to get 100% luck. But this is a nice change. It makes it a bit nice. Oh, possible. Oh yeah, with some sweets you can get 100% luck. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, this is I think a nice change. It makes it Tira, yeah, I mean, if you get the luck sweets and Togepi casts, you could go to 100% luck. Yeah, I guess. But I think this is a nice change. And also it makes it like more fair for like low base and chance lucks and everything. I mean, basically, people will... I don't know if you really can see the difference in-game in like a regular game. I think this is a change that is more prevalent if you really try to get like to the boundary of the luck you can create with your team, but like to be like very focused on luck base. I think in a normal game this isn't changing that much, because I mean it's still just chances, so you still just roll a die if you get it or not. So yeah, it's just still a gamble. So changes to the UI. Mouse right button no longer allows you to move on carousel rounds in town. Use the left button instead. So this is to prevent accidentally opening carousel items, tooltips, and not being able to move to the location behind the tooltip. But yeah, this is just a quality of life change. It's nice, so you can't accidentally open stuff you don't want to open. So it's pretty nice. I have more stats to share if you want about the luck formula change. Oh yeah, if you have like some examples, that's pretty nice, yeah. So before at 6.2 to 6.3 changes. So crit with Razor Claw or Dark 7, it's from 90 to 70. Wild chance goes from 1.5 to 2%. Baby egg chance 15 to 20%. Baby golden egg chance increases. Ice 2 increases. Ice 6 decreases. Ghost dot chance increases by 2, so it's not that much. Delibirds also by 2%, so it's not that much. 5 hits with Fury Swipe or Arm Thrust are unchanged. So these are the changes. Like examples for changes with the thing. With the new formula. And I think this is nice. So we were here. Simplified the collection system UI. Added counters for portraits and unlocked. Yeah, counters for added portraits unlocked, shinies unlocked, and Pokemon's played. This is something you will see in-game. If you click on your profile, you can see how many Pokemons you already played, how many shinies you got unlocked, how many portraits, and how many titles you got, and so on and so forth. Add pool filter in Pokemon meta report. Nice. Add Pokemon search by wiki regions. That's nice. So you can now look in the region bar. You can put in a name of Pokemon, and you can see in which region this regional form will be. So that's nice. Added camera shakes to some abilities can be disabled in options. That can be interesting. Haven't seen it yet, so cannot talk about it too much. So collection system rework. So boosters now immediately unlocks the emote you get from the card, so you do not need to craft them anymore. Some emotes are rarer than others, so if you draw an emote you already unlocked, you get 50 shards instead. So you can still unlock emotes you want specifically, but you can also gamba for all them. So you don't need to get like a certain amount of shards to get an emote you want. You can just randomly get them in a booster. So that's a nice change. Whereas I didn't like the system before, and I like this one more. A shiny rate in boosters is increased from 3% to 5%. So you have even a higher chance to get shiny emotes. That's also very nice. I also like this. Your collection now displays the number of times you've played each Pokemon. This count is not retroactive. Every player starts with an empty Pokédex as of this patch. So from this patch onwards, you can see what Pokemons you play the most. So if you are a disgusting piece of shit and play like the same shit all the time, or if you play if you just play one Pokemon like that you just enjoy, like I don't know, if you play Skitty all the time now, or if you play I don't know what's broken right now, but I don't know if you're an Infernape spammer or something. So yeah. So now you can show everyone that you play just one thing or different things. But yeah, so other changes. Minimum ELO ranks for ranked mode have been adjusted to reduce waiting times for high ELO players. Okay. So high ELO players do not need to wait that much. That's fine. New gadget, Pokeguesser. I guess the Pokemon game when waiting for a lobby to start. I like Pokeguesser a lot. I already played a few games yesterday. Like did a few tries, and I love it. It's very, very fun. It's like a very nice pastime while waiting. Yeah. The Duke title was changed. Own at least one emote of all current Pokemons in the game. All the accounts that this title before this had this title before the patch lost it. I didn't check for this typo. My mistake. New title Surfer. Surf with Pikachu Surfer. So you get, if you get Aquatic 8. New title Collector has played all current Pokemons in the game. That's an achievement I'm trying to get. New title Lucky, get a 10 gold jackpot or more with a gold bottle cap. Giant, get a Pokemon over 1500 HP. That's a huge one. That's a very difficult one. New title Legend, play with three legendaries or more in your team. So this is only possible if you play Smeargle, Scribble, or have the repeat ball. New title Decurion. Play with 10 units in your team, not counting clone spawns. So you need a gold bow for this one. Putting the evolved Pokemon into the team planner now marks the tier 1 Pokemon in the shop. That's very nice. I like this change. Because you can plan out your team for like T25 and then, you know, and still find the Pokemon's tier 1 in your shop. That's very nice. In Sableye Town, encounter now steals all players at the same time. And only once. And it's slower and it gets... Oh, and if you caught it, you get 1 gold. I already had this encounter. It's nice. I guess it's 1 gold you get. And this is a tier list from last patch. This is not ordered in the tiers. This is roughly how last patch meta was perceived. There can be like some slight changes to it, but this was last patch's meta. And this is how I think the meta will change. So I think Fossil will fall off initially, this meta, because people can counter Fossil now, will play less Fossil, and so Fossil will be seen worse. I think Sound and Psychic will gain huge consistency buffs and gain strong units, so they will be stronger than they were, and I think they will be very, very strong. Normal got a lot of Pokemons, very good ones, better consistency, better Pokemons. Same goes for Field, so they are better. Fairy did get some slight nerfs with Power Lens, for example, and some changes, like small changes here and there. They got some good Pokemons as well, so I think they will do good. Still will do very good. Maybe they are still S tier, but I think they are A tier right now. At the beginning. Oh yeah, Morphus will stay S tier because there was nothing changed for Amorphous, and Amorphous was strong and it will be strong. So there's no change there. Flying 8, also there are no changes to Flying 8. So Flying will be strong anyways. Will stay strong, is strong. Artificial has some like changes to the items. So like few items are weaker now, but others are stronger. Like there are some new ones that are kind of good. So I think Artificial is still in a good spot. With all its changes, like I said, Fossil will stay relevant. I think it could still be S tier, but I think A tier for now. It's more realistic. Dragons, A tier. I think Dragon is pretty good. It was pretty good, and is still pretty good. Especially because they didn't suffer too much changes. I mean, Vibrava nerf is kind of annoying, but it doesn't matter too much. So yeah. Yeah, Fairy lost the punching glove bonus, exactly. Power Lens, exactly. So it's still strong and consistent. Yeah, I agree. Exactly like Fairy, Fossil, more counterplay, still strong. So A tier. Fighting, I think fighting, yeah, got stronger a bit. Because there's, it's better against Fossil now. It's better, I mean, it's good against Normal. And Normal is better now, I think. So, because Fossil and Normal get more consistency and so on. So I think fighting, therefore, will be stronger. Fighting got a new unit in Lilligant that is pretty decent. So I think fighting overall benefits just from the meta change. So I think fighting just benefits a lot from how the meta changes. Oh yeah, and also Power Lens is a good thing for Infernape in the 6 fighting, 6 human, 6 fire comp. So yeah, Ice got some changes. Like Vanillish is weaker, but Articuno is way better now. And also the luck changes. Like in early game, luck base is better. The smooching buffs are pretty decent, so I think Ice is doing good. Water got a bit better for a similar reason, because you have more chance to get special Pokemons with your good rod. So you get to that Pokemon quicker. That's also a buff for Dragon and for Water. And I think Water in general benefits from some small stuff here and there. So we will see. I think it's in a good spot. Ghost is still pretty good. I think maybe Ghost could be better, maybe now, but I think it's pretty much unchanged and there's nothing to it that was changed, so it's in a pretty similar spot. Does Fluffy Tail block Possessed? Yeah, Fluffy Tail does block Possessed. Baby got a bit better because of the luck change, like the luck formula change. Kapfu got a bit better, Tyro got a bit better. Cherokee, that's is weaker now, so that's a bit. I mean, also because of the luck change, like you have a slightly more, slightly better chance to get shiny eggs and so on and so on. So this is like dark, so Baby's fine. Dark will be weaker but still good. Electric will be pretty much the same as before. Like you can see, it will be pretty much the same as before. Poison, I think it will not change that much. How Poison is. Because I think Poison is same-ish, even though they got like some decent legendary Pokemons. I think they are better in other comps, like other synergies than, like in their other synergies than in Poison. And because of even though Gligar got changed, it's still not the Gliscor got changed. It doesn't empower Poison really. So I think Poison is the same, Grass is the same, Wild is also same-ish. Ground is also good still. Yeah, I mean, Monkey Dory is broken, but you don't want it in Poison. Like, you want to play it in Psychic or Human, but not in Poison. So, like, Poison has more legendaries, but you don't want to play Poison with these legendaries. Ground is the same. Like, Ground is like, I think it's the most mid-comp. Like, everything C is still good. Yeah, I know what you mean, Wimby. I know what you mean. I meant Blue Monkey. That with Poison. Yeah, Ground is mid, as always. I think Fire is meh. It can pop off if you're lucky with like an early reroll comp, like Infernape, Delphox, Charizard reroll or something. But yeah. So these are like in C, these are like Wild, you need to be lucky. In Ground, it's just mid. Grass is fine. Like, these are all fine comps you can win with, but they are the weakest one currently. But the most interesting thing is, like, in this slide, there was no potential as main synergy, but there it is, potential as main synergy. Aquatic 8, I think, has the potential as main synergy now. Because I played it, I think it feels nice. It depends, like, what is in meta, because if Ice, Poison, and so on, like, heavy CC isn't played that much, Aquatic might fall off, and isn't that necessary. But Aquatic 8 is still very nice, especially if the fights are longer. So if there's less Dragon team, like, not Dragon, like Dark teams, or Wild teams, Aquatic very much benefits from this, so it is playable. A Human, it has potential as a main synergy now with new add-ons like Monkey Dory, but it's more like it's still more like a side synergy. A Steel, I mean, they got some buffs here and there, like very small buffs in some Pokemons and changes. For example, the paralysis change. They are not affected that much anymore by paralysis, so they can actually attack. So that's nice. So maybe there is a world where you can play it as a main synergy. But currently there are not like teams meta that Steel is good into. Monster, I think Monster 8 might be playable if there are like, especially if there are like very many slow teams. You can go with Monster stomping the early game and transition into something else late game, like Ground or Dragon, or even Fossil. Bugs, like, they can also like swarm the early game to mid game, and you try to bleed out the opponents before they get into the late game scaling with Sound, Psychic, and Amorphous. Yeah, and Light, Gourmet, Flora, and Rock will stay side synergies for now. And I think they are also intended as side synergies, especially Light, Gourmet, and Flora. So these are my predictions for the meta. If I'm correct, I don't know, but I can say this is my first feel for the meta while reading the patches, like while reading the patch and preparing the patch rundown, and having played like 2 or 3 games already. So this is how I feel. Will the meta be? I could miss some stuff here and there, but I think that's overall. So if you like this video, like this patch rundown, leave a like and subscribe. And see you in the next one. Bye bye.